I was recently invited to Meta's Performance Marketing Summit in San Jose, and some of the stuff I saw there was honestly mind-blowing. Meta showed us a lot of new features and tools that I want to demonstrate in this video. They also gave us a really good idea of what the future of Meta advertising is going to look like. Big changes are coming very soon, and we need to discuss them right now. So let me start with a quick overview of the event, and then I'll get into the crazy stuff that Meta showed us and that I really want to share with you guys. So it was a 2-day event. It's an annual event held every year, this year in San Jose in a big convention center. And it's a performance marketing summit. So it's all about getting better results with Meta ads. So Meta is sharing with us best practices, tips, updated stuff. They're showing a lot of new tools and features that I want to get into, you guys, and they're giving us an overview of what is going to happen, what they think is likely to happen going forward, and where our focus should be as advertisers to get the best results with a new structure. And they didn't just share basic stuff, they shared some really advanced stuff as well, because it was a room full of serious advertisers. So it's an invite-only event, and basically what Meta's doing is they're inviting their biggest spenders, their largest advertisers, which is a mixture of people like me that own marketing agencies, and there'll be people who work for marketing agencies, but also people who work for big companies with large budgets. So people who really know their onions when it comes to Meta advertising, and they're susceptible to advanced level advice and tips and things to really get the best results possible. And actually at one stage I was trying to work out what the total managed ad spend would be in that room. So there's more than 1,000 of us. My agency alone manages just under $100 million a year in Meta ads. I imagine the average in that room wouldn't be as high as that, but if you were to add it all up, you're still probably talking tens of billions of dollars a year. So like a serious room full of Meta advertisers. And that was one of the big advantages of going to something like that, was being able to connect with a lot of people that are serious players within this industry. So if you do get a chance to go to something like this in the future, I'd strongly recommend that you go ahead and do so. Now, not only did I go to the event, but I was sort of invited by Meta specifically as a megaphone partner, one of a few megaphone partners. There were 4 of us at the event, a small team of like content creators and people have influence, or effectively brand ambassadors for Meta ads, and we were given the special treatment, which was really fun. So we had reserved seats right on the front row. We had a closed door session where we were shared some information was shared with us, sort of extra stuff that not everyone else could find out about yet, but we sort of got early access, and that was really cool. And Meta made a big fuss of us, which was nice. And I had people come up to me and say they'd follow my content and watch my stuff, and that's always really fun. So yeah, so that was sort of what it was. Really glad I went. I'm sure I'll be going to many in the future. And with that said, let's go ahead and go through my big takeaways. Tons of stuff was shared, and I'm going to go through some of the points that I think are the most impactful for Meta advertisers like you and me, some of the ways we need to divert our attention and energy from certain things to other things, which is going to help us all get better results, and what we can expect going forward as well. So the first thing I want to talk about is AI-enabled ad interaction. And this was really crazy. This was one of those things that Meta showed us, and everyone in the room is sort of like looking up, you know, mouth open at the screen going, wow, this is some serious tech. I can see how this is going to help us all get better results as Meta advertisers. Let's run through the example, and then I'll talk a bit more about the ramifications of this and how this might apply to your business, right? So I've got this queued up here, and let's have a quick look.
So I think we actually have a video of the functionality. So why don't we check it out?
Yeah, it's an ad for a soap, basically, or a shampoo, something like that. So it's a standard looking ad like you'd expect so far. A real style ad. And you can see you get this section here, tap to talk. Hi, any questions I can help? You tap on that.
Is this shampoo bar suitable for my hair type?
What's your hair type? Is it straight, wavy, curly, or coily?
I have curly hair. Based on that, which shampoo bar would you recommend?
The coconut oil solid shampoo contains castor oil and coconut oil, which smooth the hair cuticle and reduce frizz.
That's great. I'm going to get one for me and my 2 best friends. Can I get 3 bars?
Sounds great. And since your order will be over $35, you'll get free shipping.
Awesome. Can't wait to try it out.
Great. Let's get you checked out.
So you can see this is a serious innovation when it comes to Meta ads. Not only are you able to ask questions and have it answer intelligently, so specific, will this shampoo bar be suitable for my hair type? Yes, it will. It gave, like the AI gave a real reason as to why it didn't just say yes, which would help convince the person that it's good advice and help get them closer to the purchase. It then talked about the fact that there was free shipping that qualifies because this person's buying more than one. So you can see that the potential applications for this, it's going to increase conversion rates without doubt, because so many people don't buy products and services because they see an ad and they can't quite work out if it's suitable for them or not. And they think, oh, maybe this doesn't quite apply to me, and they move off. Not everyone's going to click through and go through to like an FAQ section, but if they can do it right there on the ad, that's going to help increase conversion rates. It's going to reduce the need for a lot of customer interaction, which will make Meta advertised businesses more efficient, because a lot of businesses' inboxes are full, whether it's on social, email, whatever, full of people asking questions like that. Which bar of shampoo in this case would work well for my hairstyle or color? And then someone needs to go in and respond. Well, if they just do it on the ad, that makes it much more efficient, also makes it more likely that person will convert. This sort of AI interaction is moving further down the sales process, what you might need people for, making it a lot more efficient, right? So here's a free shipping offer because you're ordering multiple products, or you can see how as this levels up, it's going to be able to do more and more of that process and handle more and more of the sales process, particularly for lower ticket items and inexpensive stuff, which is really very exciting. And I absolutely think this is something, when it's rolled out, which is going to be rolled out really soon, by the way, is going to help increase conversion rates across the board. And yeah, I'm certainly excited for this one. I think it's going to be a big deal for Meta advertisers. The second big takeaway for me is that the future of ad creative is creators. And this is something that Meta was really keen on emphasizing to us. A lot of the people that spoke at the event and a lot of the material was around creators, which is really nice for me to hear, because it's something that I've been talking about quite a while. And if you've watched my videos, you'll have probably seen me advocating using creators or influencers, interchangeable term in this scenario, in your ads. And I'm now very fortunate to have lots of contacts within Meta Megaphone partners, speak to lots of people within the business. And I've heard this from many Meta employees that they actually think the future, the way advertising is going to go, creators are going to become more valuable because of AI, not less. I'm a creator myself as well, so I sit on both sides of the fence, right? I'm an advertiser and I'm a creator. And I know a lot of other creators, and some creators have been concerned that AI is going to replace them. We're going to have AI influencers, AI creators, and that's going to make them not necessary anymore. And actually, what Meta feels, and I would agree with them, is we're going to see the opposite. Because there's going to be so much sort of AI-generated fluff, advice in ad form and organic content form that people don't know whether they can trust. There's going to be so much information out there that what people will be looking for is a signal that cuts through that noise. And the signal is going to be, I trust that person's advice. And I think people are far more likely to trust a person's advice than they are an unknown AI entity. Maybe in 20, 30 years time, we have AI creators and people have grown up with it and they're used to it and it's just standard. But I think for a while yet, that's going to be a real jump. So they really think that creator ads are going to be super valuable because they're going to cut through the noise. If a creator is recommending a product and people in their audience trust that creator, they trust that person's opinion, they've consumed maybe hours of their content, they've built somewhat of a relationship with that person, that helps cut through the noise and helps improve ad performance. So I've got a bunch of notes on the creator-based stuff that Meta emphasized and that I want to share with you guys as well, because even though I've been talking about using creators and influencers and ads a lot over the last months, maybe even a bit longer than that, not that many of my audience actually done so. I've done polls where I can see that it's only a minority, and I think a lot more advertisers should be giving this a go, right? So why actually take this step and go through the hassle of working with creators? Well, Meta made it very clear that on average, you will see a significant improvement in performance when you do so. And I can certainly back that up. We've seen many campaigns, we work with clients where we have a generic person in the ads, someone that's unknown, perhaps someone that works at a company, and then we start using creator-based ads instead. Often the content is very similar, but it's someone who has influence over a portion of the target market in the ads instead, and results are completely different, absolute night and day. We've seen a 2.5x ROAS go to a 6.5x ROAS just by changing the person that's featured in the ad and keeping a lot of the other things absolutely the same. And that's because that creator, that influencer, they have influence over their target market. That you are far more likely to stop the scroll if the person in the ad is recognized. Oh, okay, oh, this is such and such, as opposed to someone the person doesn't recognize. And that's a huge amount of the battle when it comes to Meta advertising, is stopping someone from just scrolling past, from moving on. But then also when they're making a recommendation, that carries so much more weight, because if, like I said, the people in the audience trust their opinion, they trust their advice, then people are far more likely to feel comfortable going ahead and buying or purchasing the service or inquiring or whatever it is that you want them to do. So Meta is really pushing this, not just from the Performance Summit, but they've talked quite a lot about their Creator Marketplace recently, which is a fantastic free tool, by the way. If you haven't checked it out, definitely do so. It's going to be a really easy way to find creators to work with. You can see all the important stats, not just, you know, followers and the industry they work in, but also engagement rates and like really granular stuff. I've created a whole video on Creator Marketplace, so you can find that on my channel. Definitely go ahead and check that out and give that a go, because it's going to make the whole creator workspace for advertisers much easier. You can even contact them, you can create campaigns, you can say, look, this is what I'm willing to pay, this is what I want, are you interested? Really streamline that whole process. So definitely go ahead and use the Creator Marketplace to find them and check out that video. And the other thing they talked about that's really important with the creator ads is using partnership ads. So what you can do with partnership ads, instead of say just getting a video asset from a creator and then just running that through your own ad account and having it appear as part from your page or your Instagram profile, what you can do with partnership ads is change basically who the ad's from, but also integrate their account so you can better target their audience. So you could have, like, up till now, the way ads have been presented when they're partnership ads is both from your account and from the creator's account, like a collaboration style. You'll see that at the top. And then it will tap into their audience. We can actually have now more flexibility where you can choose which account the ads appear like they're coming from, but you still have full control as an advertiser. You can run the ads out of your own ad account. It's just tapping into their audiences, their followings, and also appearing as from them, which definitely helps improve performance. So more bang for your buck when it comes to your creator ads if you do it that way. I'll be publishing a video on partnership ads very soon, so make sure you subscribe and keep an eye out for that, because I'll show you all the details and the setup when it comes to doing that. But yeah, they see that as important now, improving results, but as just the internet in general becomes a more AI filled place and there's more noise and there's more stuff that may or may not be good advice, people will be searching for people of authority to take advice from, and we can absolutely tap into that as advertisers. I've got a bunch of other crazy things that I want to share with you in a second, but before I do that, I want to quickly let you know that we can do all this for you. Here's a quick clip from a talk I gave recently that explains why you should let us manage your ads and get you better results. Hire my agency to run your Meta ads for you. I said at the beginning, spent more than 150 million. That's a very conservative number. I always like any number claims I give to be like absolutely bulletproof. And that ad spend generated more than 600 million in revenue for our clients. Clients all around the world, all sorts of niches. I am the only Meta megaphone partner in the UK. Which is because of my personal brand. I have special access with Meta. They give me access to things early, special access so that if things go wrong with ad accounts, which if you've been running Facebook and Instagram ads, you will know that is absolutely the case, we're able to get that resolved with an email, which is a big advantage. And we're an agency partner. Lots of agencies will tell you that they're agency partners. There's different levels to that game. We're in the top level. There's only 50 in the UK. And of those 50, we actually have the most number of clients. When we signed up, the person from Meta was surprised that that was the case. And that leads me to make the somewhat bold claim, but I would honestly stand by it, that I've got the best Meta ads agency in the UK. I pitch my team against any in the UK and be surprised it didn't come out on top. Honestly, I'd pitch my guys against any Meta ads agency in the world and be surprised if they didn't come out on top, which I know is punchy, but there we go. Big takeaway number 3 is that data quality is everything. And this is very much AI related as well.
High quality data will matter more than ever, because it's the foundation to train all of our models. It's the biggest competitive advantage for a business, so please, please, lean in and share high quality signal.
So as Meta's AI becomes smarter and more powerful, and many of us advertisers are already relying on it to do most of the targeting, the delivery, a lot of the optimization. So a lot of advertisers are now using Advantage Plus campaigns or full open targeting, where you're basically saying to Meta, you work out who to advertise to, you work out how often to put ads in front of them, what times of day, work all these various elements out, because you can do it better than us as advertisers. And that process is going to continue to happen. That gets us better results. We can see that in the data quite clearly on average. But in order for Meta to be able to do that to its fullest extent and get you the best results possible, you need quality data inputs. So as a bare minimum, Meta was talking about, you need to have both the Meta Pixel and the Conversions API installed. having them together produces more accurate data than just the one of them, and a lot of advertisers are using just one of them. And then a further recommendation is to spend some time in Events Manager and work on improving your event match quality. So improving the accuracy between the conversion events that have been triggered and that data actually making it through to your ad account, and Meta then being able to use that information to further optimize your campaigns and help you get better results. And let me show you a quick example of what this would look like, right? So I'm in Events Manager in the overview, and this is for one of our example Meta ad accounts. And I've used this because not everything's set up properly, and therefore we've got some errors, which is exactly what I wanted to demonstrate for you. Meta makes it really easy to work out what to do to improve your data accuracy in here, because they will give you errors, and we've got some errors popping up here, right? Custom events, migrate your offline event sets to data sets, etc., right? So come in here, take a look at what Meta recommends, have a click about, work out how to improve your data quality, because like I said, that is becoming more and more important. And the more AI does for us as they move into not just targeting and delivery, but into other parts of Meta advertising like copywriting, image, slideshow, even video creation for us, this is only going to become more important. And they really emphasize that this is going to be one of the important roles for Meta advertisers. As an agency or working within a company, in-house going forward is going to be making sure that the data the inputs are as good as they can possibly be. So if that means that you need to upskill and learn some technical skills, some like basic programming or things along those lines, or you need to have that, because I certainly won't be learning that stuff, but we will have that more going forward as a part of our team. We have people that already know how to do this stuff, of course, but that's going to become more of an emphasis going forward, is to have that skill set as part of our agency to be able to make sure that we're really on top of this and we can help our clients get the best results by increasing their data quality input. So I think that's going to be a really important part of Meta advertising going forward, and a focus that they talked about from a number of different angles that we need to be on top of if we want the better results. Takeaway number 4 is changing user behavior. Now this is something that I was aware of, but I wasn't aware that it was quite as significant as it is, and the implications for this going forward.
Gen Z, they discover products on social media, and they are twice as likely to make a purchase without clicking on an ad. So what do we need? We need measurement methods to reflect the way people consume media and the way they shop.
So if you think about how a lot of the tracking that is done to work out what results their ads are generating, it's very much click-based, right? Someone clicked an ad, they came through to a website, they're pixeled, we can see they made a purchase, etc., etc. But if that's not how users are interacting with ads as much anymore, they are more likely to sort of absorb the information, clock the brand name, maybe they go check out reviews, maybe they just go and Google it, or use an AI search-based tool to find it, and then they go through and make a purchase. That has a lot of implications for tracking and data accuracy, and this is obviously linked to the previous point. So there's a few things we need to be aware of, therefore, as Meta advertisers. Firstly, it means that we're going to have to start factoring in view-through conversions more. So a lot of advertisers kind of turn their nose up at view-through conversions, thinking, oh, well, that's not a real conversion that was generated from my ad. I was going to get the sale anyway, an ad was just put in front of them. And in some cases, that's going to be true. But particularly if future generations aren't as likely to click on an ad, but that ad still was what caused them to make the purchase, because they're going to have a different interaction with that business, different digital interaction, then we can't ignore that. We can't look at our results thinking they're getting worse because we're only looking at click-through attribution. We need to factor in the view-through attribution. I'm hoping Meta's going to be able to extend their view-through attribution windows, because right now the default attribution windows are going to be 7 days click, so someone needs to make a purchase, become a lead, etc., within 7 days of clicking or within 1 day of viewing, in order for that to be registered within your ad account. It's often why Meta ads underreport, by the way, particularly if you have long lead or sales cycles, because if someone clicks on an ad, then they take a bit of time to think about it, research a few options, talk to their partner if it's a big decision, and then come back and make a purchase longer than 7 days, that's not tracked, even though that ad played a big role in generating that conversion. So we need to think about this going forward, and I'm hoping Meta is going to be able to extend those timeframes when it comes to view-through conversions, so that we can do this. And I actually expect this to be more pronounced going forward. Like if Gen Z are already doing this, and that's different from previous generations, the generation under that is probably more likely to do that. There's like a reluctance to leave the social platform, I'm guessing, and more likely to, like I said, look at reviews or search for it later, or or have multiple touch points that lead to that purchase, this is going to become more pronounced and more important. Emphasizes the importance of having CAPI, Conversions API, set up, because that's going to help track those conversions, whereas the pixel might struggle. So yeah, link to previous point, get your data quality set up, but that is twice as likely already is a big deal. And if that continues to go, that somewhat changes the tracking landscape when it comes to online advertising. Number 5 is incremental attribution. And this is a feature that's being rolled out right now. I think it's a fantastic new innovation from Meta. And I think it's going to help advertisers with something they've really struggled with for a number of years. And that's advertisers often frustrated feeling that Meta will take credit for purchases, leads, etc. that were generated, that Meta had a part to play in, like these people were served an ad, maybe they clicked on an ad, but that the advertiser feels aren't solely up to Meta. And if you think about how a lot of customers, potential customers, will interact with businesses before they make a purchase and during that sort of sales journey, there's often going to be multiple touch points. They're going to perhaps see an ad on Meta, maybe they click on it, but then also they're going to ask a friend. If the friend says it's good, they will then search for it on Google, and they may just go through organically on Google. They may click on an ad there depending on what's searched. They may also see some organic content about it. They might have it pop up in many different places, right? And therefore it can be really difficult for advertisers to sort of work out their source of truth, work out, okay, what actually led to this purchase being made? What can I attribute this to? And in the scenario I just gave, it's really hard because kind of a bit of this and a bit of that and a bit of that. So incremental attribution is all about working out those purchases, those conversions that were generated that would not have taken place without the ad in the first place. So you can say as a Meta advertiser, like concretely, we spent this and we generated at least this back. Okay, so a few things to think about when it comes to incremental attribution. Firstly, when you do go ahead and use it, or if you give it a go, as I said, it's being rolled out to ad accounts right now, your numbers may not look as good when you're comparing them to not using incremental attribution. Because not using incremental attribution, you're going to see extra results in your ad account that, like I said, Meta ads may have had a hand in, but perhaps I believe that some of those conversions would have taken place anyway, even without the Meta ads being involved. So that's just something to brace yourself for and be aware of. And we had a few people up on stage talking about that. Like when you see the incremental results, sometimes it can be a bit jarring. But just okay, that's a good thing to know about. It's better that we have this data and we can make more informed decisions, right? So Meta so far has tested this with advertisers. They do that before they roll everything out. And a really interesting stat they gave us was they saw a 46% improvement amongst their test advertisers in results when using this.
46%.
This is a really big deal. And for those advertisers that really care about incrementality, they really care about reaching new people or reaching people that would not have converted anyway, then this is going to be, like I said, potentially a game changer for some of those. Now, this stuff, along with the data quality inputs, it can start to get pretty complicated. If you reach a certain level of ad spend, I don't know what specifically that is, but you will qualify for a Meta rep who will be able to help you out with this stuff. And I think that's something that Meta advertisers need to get better at, particularly those that spend more and are working with quality reps, is to be able to ask them, right, what's going on with incremental attribution? How do I do this? What does this data mean? And ask some of the more specific technical questions. Or like I said, you can look to get more technical expertise to help you out with that. Like the biggest Meta ad spenders are now working with data scientists and technical people along those lines to help understand all of this and really pass out the attribution to the right channels and work out exactly what's being generated based on what's being spent and use that to inform better decision making. I think for a lot of small advertisers that might be a bit overkill, but you can play around with incremental attribution even as a small advertiser. That may well be very, very valuable still. Okay, so we just went through some pretty dense and some heavier technical stuff. Let's change it up a little bit with my next takeaway, which is some ad creative advice. And Meta were really clear on this, by the way. They really emphasize this point. And that's that they find that advertisers get better results when they create ads with Reels in mind. And there's a few different components to that. I'll quickly run through them, right? So firstly, you want to try and make ads that don't look like ads. If your ad looks like an ad, it is so easy for people to go, that's an ad, and scroll right past. So they really talked about trying to produce ads that feel like other pieces of content that would fit in on the platform. Basically, that's why they're talking about creating ads with Reels in mind. If it's made to look like a typical, or a good, obviously, but a fitting Instagram reel on Facebook, you're likely to improve performance. A few different ways to go about doing that, a few things you need to watch out for. Creators is obviously a massive part of that. We've already discussed that in the previous takeaway, but if you want your ad to look like a piece of content as opposed to an ad, what better way to do that than to hire a creator who is really good at creating content, hence why they became a creator in the first place. And if they produce ads for your business in the similar way that they produce creative or content for their social accounts, then that's going to tick that box really well, right? So that very much leads into to that point as well. So if they, they've got some stats on the improvements you're likely to see if you're able to actually implement on this. So Reels first ads, Meta told us, result in a 13% better return on ad spend and a 16% lower CPA. I mean, those are pretty significant improvements for something that's a relatively easy fix for a lot of businesses. So when you're making a Reels first ad, we talked about making it not look an ad. So what does that mean, right? What other boxes do you need to tick, I should say? So firstly, it needs to be a vertical video. Like, we're not talking about a square or a close to square sort of feed style piece of creative. We're talking about vertical video that fills the full screen. Make sure that you're adding audio, even if it's, obviously video ads are typically going to contain audio and that's going to be part of it. But even if it's like, say, like a slideshow style ad or something like that, make sure you get audio added in. And then also make sure that you put everything in the safe zones. So I'll just demonstrate what that quickly looks like. So Meta have got support docs on this. I've just jumped in here to show you. And we can see if we scroll down here, these are the safe zones for both Reels and Stories. And you can basically work out that if you make something in the safe zone for Reels, you're basically there for Stories anyway. So we're talking about including stuff so that it doesn't overlap with the other bits of information here, right? Stuff down at the bottom, etc., and really put the most, obviously you can fill the full screen with your videos, but put the most important stuff. If there's going to be text overlays or something, make sure it's within that safe zone. You can just hunt this support doc down and find that. And when you're putting your creator together, make sure it aligns with that. Or if you're working with creators, make sure they're aware of that and that they, follow that and make sure they put everything within the safe zones as well. I've got a couple of other massive takeaways from Meta's Performance Marketing Summit that I want to share with you in a second, but first I want to let you know about Hyros. Hyros is the best tracking and attribution software for Facebook and Instagram ads. It's a software that all the big players, including myself, use. I use it to track the results that I generate from my own ads. I also use it for all my organic content as well, which is really useful. So if someone comes through and books a call for our done for you services, for example, I can see exactly where they came from with a lot of accuracy, and that allows me to make decisions in my business, which is really helpful. And let me quickly show you how important this is. So I'm in my Hyros dashboard. I've isolated one of our Meta ad campaigns and I've created a report for it so we can see the data and you can take a look at this. So this campaign spent just under £2,000, generated £15,000 in revenue. But here's the really important bit, reported versus revenue. And in this column, we can see £12,000. Now what that means is that out of the £15,000 that this campaign has actually generated, Hyros has been able to report on the full 15,000, £12,000 of which Meta was not originally able to see. So if we're just looking within our Meta ad account, not using Hyros, we would have seen that £3,000 of revenue was generated from this campaign, and that is not true at all. That is a much lower ROAS number than the actual £15,000 of revenue that was generated. For a number of years now, Meta's ad tracking capabilities have not been as accurate as they once were because all sorts of privacy regulations have come into effect, and it's only heading that way. It's only becoming more and more difficult to get accurate data and track our results as we need to be able to do. This is a relatively extreme case, and the reason why is because Meta has a 7-day maximum attribution window. And this is an ad campaign that's retargeting for one of our services that people usually take a lot longer than 7 days to make a decision on. So if someone clicks on an ad, they often won't convert within 7 days. Meta's simply not able to see that data, and that's where Hyros comes in. The important thing is that you need accurate data, and Hyros takes care of that. So if you want to get better results from your Facebook ads without actually having to touch your ads, go ahead and sign up to Hyros. There is a link in the video description. Takeaway number 7 is omnichannel ads. Now, you may have heard me talk about this recently. It's a really big new feature, an absolute game changer for certain meta advertisers. Omnichannel ads allow you to optimize for both online conversions and in-store purchases. And there are, of course, lots of businesses that sell online, but also have physical stores, retail locations where they want to sell things. And being able to combine optimization for those two into one ad, one campaign is really, really valuable, because you can let Meta do its thing, take advantage of a lot of things we've already talked about with the AI improvements around delivery and targeting and optimization to get you the best results possible, but factor in that some people are going to want to purchase online, others are going to want to come in store. The split between those are going to vary between the various businesses. With omnichannel ads, you have some extra features where people can see stock levels with stores nearby, so they could go and pick something up if it's, there's time limit on it, or they just rather go and do that instead of having to be in for a delivery or something along those lines. So for businesses that meet that criteria, that sell online, have at least one physical location, omnichannel ads are just the best thing that's been created for them in a long time. They should definitely be looking to use omnichannel ads. Another feature that's being rolled out to a lot of advertisers, and if your business meets that criteria or you work for clients that meet that criteria, you have to know what omnichannel ads. I have a video on this. You can find that on my channel. Go ahead and check it out. Pop in omnichannel ads and it'll pop right up, and you can go through it and work out how to implement it and get the best results from it. But yeah, very excited about that. Doesn't apply to everyone, but for those that do, a really big deal. Takeaway number 8 is another big new feature, and that's value rules. I'm going to explain what they are and then demonstrate how they work quickly for you now. So this is a big deal for advertisers because it allows you to optimize for something different to the default. So instead of just optimizing for as many sales, as many conversions as possible, or even optimizing for the best return on ad spend as possible, you might have other criteria that are important to your business, particularly over the long run. So I'll give you an example to help demonstrate this. So I was lucky enough actually to be demonstrated this feature a few weeks ago by someone who works at Meta as part of the product team for this. And as they were running through this feature for me, it was really interesting because literally the day before, I'd had a conversation with one of our coaching clients, someone who's part of my mentorship program, who was explaining their situation. I just thought value rules are perfect for them. So I'll give this as the example. So this client was it's a jewelry store that sells mostly women's jewelry, just online, not a physical location, but jewelry, sell women's jewelry, right? And when they're running their Meta ads, a lot of their ads are being put in front of men as well as women. And that makes sense because men buy women's jewelry as gifts for women. But what this client was complaining about, what they found as an issue, is that when they generated a conversion from a man, that person was far less likely to buy again because they're buying a gift, the repeat purchase weren't as high. Whereas when women were buying their products for themselves, primarily, could be gifts as well, but primarily for themselves, they were far more likely to enjoy the product, remember the brand, come back and buy more. So they found that their customer lifetime value was significantly higher from female purchasers as opposed to male purchasers. And this left them with this kind of dilemma of like, well, I don't want to stop advertising to men because I'm going to miss out on conversions. Meta's putting ads in front of men for a reason. But also I want to get more of these female purchases because we have higher customer LTV, and that can be a really big deal. Repeat purchase factoring that can be a really big deal, particularly over the long run as you generate more customers. And value rules is just perfect for that because in that scenario you can say, I want to emphasize conversions that come from women because they have more longer value for my business. And that's and there are lots of different businesses with different examples, right? So let's quickly run through value rules and how they work. Let me show you. So I'm back in the example ad account. I'm in advertising settings, which if you click on these 3 little lines, all tools, and then you'll see the menu pop up, but I've already got it here selected as advertiser settings. And then not everyone has this yet. It is being rolled out, this new feature, but if you do have it, you will see this value rules section. And then we're going to go ahead and click on create a rule set, and Meta gives some information around value rules and how they work, and get more of the outcomes you want. We'll run through the specifics in a second. They also have this checkbox here. I understand my overall cost per result may increase when using value rules. I think that's something that's important for me to flag right now as well, because going back to the example, when Meta's putting their ads in front of men and women, well, they're doing that for a reason. That's because lots of conversions can be generated from men, and sort of forcing Meta to emphasize women more is going to miss out on some of those cheaper conversions, which is going to drive up the overall cost per result. Now, that might still be a better long-term play for this business because of the customer value, lifetime value piece that we've talked about, but that's just something that you need to be aware of as you are going through this, okay? So let's go ahead and click Create a Rule Set. And then we've got define your preferred audience using up to 2 criteria. So we can do age, gender, mobile operating system, or location. So you might have certain businesses where certain locations maybe are more profitable than others. So they'd rather more efficient operation maybe. So they'd rather send people there or work in that location more. You can have age criteria, could be another one where people over a certain age, let's say, might convert into more lifetime customer value because they have more disposable income, more likely to repeat purchase. So it's going to depend on your business. I'm going to go with gender because that's what we talked about in the example. And you can add 2 criteria. So you could say, not only do I want to emphasize women, I want to emphasize women over a certain age, something like that, right? And then you can see here, choose how much more or less to bid on your preferred audiences. So you can increase bid by, the default here is 20%. You can also do a decrease bid, so you could do it the other way around. 20% is a default, probably a good place to start for a business like this. You don't want to go too crazy with this early on, and you can always look to adjust it and see, okay, does a 20% increase bid, let's say we're 50-50 in terms of purchases from men, purchases from women, if we increase it by 20%, like what impact does that have? And then you go, okay, we're up to 65%, I'm just giving examples. 65% women now, are you happy with that? Or do you want to keep going further? Not. And then obviously give the rule name. So you could have like women 20% plus, something like that. And then go ahead and add that in. You can add up to 10 of these. Meta do recommend, by the way, that you don't have, say, for example, an increase women and then also create a decrease men. Can start to get a little bit too confusing. They'd say just do it in one direction. But that's how value rules work. So pretty straightforward there in terms of the run through. I'm going to have a more detailed video on value rules and the different ways you can use that coming out soon. But I wanted to just quickly let you know about that in case you can go ahead and jump on it and use that. And it might be really valuable for you. Make sure you do subscribe, like I said before, and keep an eye out for notification on the value rules specifically. So we've run through a lot of stuff there, and you might be thinking, wow, that's a lot to take in. Where do I even start? If you're in that scenario, I'd recommend the next thing you do is check out the Creator Marketplace. And I've created a whole video on it that you can check out right here, because I think that's something that more and more advertisers should look to do. Using creators in your ads is one of the highest leverage activities because it can massively improve performance, and you don't need to be the one creating those ads. The creator is gonna do it for you. So it's very time efficient as well. So if you haven't already, go ahead and check out this video, find out how to use the tool, and look to start using creators in your ads and seeing improved results because of it.